Hello, everyone. This is Three Black Pratt Grads. My name is Mark Skinner, and I'm here with Kenneth Nelson and Greg Cleghorn. The three of us went to Pratt Institute long time ago, and we are having a series of discussions about photography, our perspectives in photography, and our experiences. And this week, we are talking about what some of our best photo sessions are. And now our best photo sessions aren't necessarily the ones we got paid the most or the ones where we were, super celebrated people were being photographed, but just the ones that meant something to us and we felt really good about the results, or whatever these guys say. That's pretty much mine, but whatever these guys say are the best for them. And I'm going to start with a few photos that I've done and tell you why those are the images that are part of my best photo shoots. If you guys have been listening to the broadcast or even watching the podcasts or whatever these are that we've been doing, these discussions, you'll find that I've talked a lot about working in studio. Kenneth and I worked in a studio for a company called Abraham and Strauss. It was a subsidiary of Federated Department Stores. It's now defunct. It was absorbed by Macy's. And this particular photo was a
the
test
other way
photo.
around. No, Abraham and Strauss was the big dog. Macy's went bankrupt and absorbed Macy's. They just kept the name.
Well, what happened was Federated absorbed Macy's and then kept the name because it had a better street cred.
Unless you were from
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yeah, unless you were from Brooklyn, you didn't know Abraham and Strauss.
Right. So it's the same way that Sears and Kmart, Sears and Kmart merged, and when Kmart was going out of business, and then all of a sudden they owned Sears.
Macy's, you guys were big dogs out there for a while.
True.
You guys are just so self-deprecating. I love your guys' modesty, but you guys were Macy's shooters, okay? And to say, some obscure Abraham and Strauss photographers. No, y'all were Macy's photographers, doggone it. Okay, there.
Well, only history will tell. In any event,
it does.
This particular photo,
This
particular photo is a photo that I did after being an assistant for a couple of years there. And as you were an assistant, you got to photograph maybe a shoe or two or something like that. But this was the first photo after having gone to photo school and after having done my own work, and then having worked as an assistant and worked in the darkroom. This is the first time that a studio allowed me to use their facility, their lights, their set, everything, to create my own photo. And it was just a test. It was coffee and cake. And it was just a nice test. It's not the greatest photo in the world, but it was the first time I was afforded the opportunity to do a test basically on someone else's dime. And that way is one of the best things for me, because we had to photograph using old-fashioned view cameras. And this is a high-quality scan that my friend Ken helped me make. And it always reminds me of how far I've come in the photo business, from someone who was only using 35 millimeter camera to a person who understood how to use a view camera, to, at this point, someone who's well versed in digital. Yeah. You can go to the next one. Oh, unless you guys want to talk about it.
No, go ahead.
All right. This second photo, my wife and I, we spent.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, audio dropped.
And
you dropped out for a second, Mark.
I said my wife and I, we lived in New Jersey for almost 20 years. And what was really great about living in New Jersey is that the photographic opportunities that we were afforded were primarily with families. And people always talk about using social media. This is one family that we photographed. Actually, we photographed them a couple of times, but this was one of the first sessions we did with them. It was at a Christmas tree farm. And my wife had a great idea, which was to get families in social media that we knew and some that we didn't know to hire us to photograph them cutting down their own Christmas trees. And so this was one of my favorite, because this is one of the first ones we did of that. And they were really fun. They enjoyed doing this. I did a couple other things for them, but it was great because my wife really helped grow my social media footprint for a couple of thousand people, and we started to get a little bit of a business going that way. You go to the next one.
It kind of looked like a family of arsonists, though. They looked a little bit having too much fun with whatever they were
No,
doing.
when you go there, they give you the hacksaw and you cut the tree down and you put it on your car, your truck, or whatever.
You
And
tilted it away.
yeah. And then this image is really a collage of images. This was a photo session that was split into 2 different days. Not every model was there. I do pageantry most recently and on a lot when we were in New Jersey. Most recently here in New York, but also a lot in New Jersey we used to do. And this was day 1, and we had a location that varied quite a bit in a small space. So what you're looking at is a group of pageant winners. This is the National American Miss Pageant. They won a few years back. I think it's 2015, and they are standing in front of an old red mill in New Jersey, and there was a small waterfall, and there's this big wall. You look in the upper left-hand corner, there's this huge wall with blackboard paint on it.
Looking at?
In the upper left-hand corner, the young lady in the black dress.
Black dress.
And there's there's a blackboard that's the kids can write on during the day when you visit that town. And then there's a huge brick wall because it's an old mill town, so they have these wonderful old stone buildings. And the second row on the right side, that's the young lady there is in front of that person there is in front of a big wall of a building, and it's just a really nice space to work in. And we got a lot of photos there. And the second day we went back, we got a few more people that we could do, but actually it was another week later, I think. But this was really a lot of fun. We worked here, and then we went to a second location, and this was one of my best photo shoots because we worked from 9 to 7, and I really just enjoyed having the entire day to photograph as many people as we did, and everything went really smoothly. They were very happy with the results, and it's just a great day to take pictures. And that's really it in terms of my best photo sessions. I mean, there are others that have been a little bit more lucrative, and there have been others that have been much more exciting, but this was one that really, really went well.
Was this all natural light, bounce light, flashlight, strobe, something?
Oh, the primary light, the key light, if it's not the sun itself with a fill light, was a Mola Demi beauty dish mounted to a 800 watt second ancient Dynalite head on a pack. So.
It worked.
Oh yeah, it just there was just a lot of light, and the beauty dish is very much softer than some of the soft box of the times, and it's a great light. It really helps sculpt the faces, and it's just really nice.
Because my question was like the young lady in the lower right, she's like almost blown out, but in a kind of a cool way.
Right.
But then on the next one, or the one next to her, this one was almost started to be something really juicy because she looked like you stopped down your lens and popped your light a little brighter so that the background started to get like a weird kind of dark, cool but weird but cool kind of dark. And she comes forward really nicely on this one, better than the others. I'm really kind of lost in the other ones, but I like the lighting in those 2 pictures because it's like you're really, really kind of playing with the light. The other ones are just kind of there, but I like the light in those 2.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, and I guess when you see these 3 images together, which is this one here, transposed against this one, and the thing that they all have in common is the background.
Right.
And you wonder how the control of the background is gained when you're using fill flash and natural light.
Well, I have to confess, the one of the group isn't the final image. You can see they're sort of standing straight up and down. Only one individual has their hand on their hip. For the sake of this presentation, I kind of grabbed one really quickly. I didn't use the final.
Okay.
So you'll find that all the finals, they are a little bit darker than not the they, but the mill in the back,
Uh-huh.
little bit darker than that one with the group, but
Uh-huh.
lighter. But the mill is lighter and brighter
Okay.
than the ones you see below. So I
Okay.
just quickly assembled some photos to just kind of talk about it in general. It really wasn't. I mean, as you can see, the crops aren't the same either. They're
Yeah.
just
So you did some post processing to sort of bring them into alignment.
Yeah, as time goes across the day, you'll have uh, basically the sun crosses your set.
Right. Okay.
And when you're working against the sun, in the morning you've got it, it's very, very much directional.
Uh-huh.
But by the afternoon, you may find yourself with the sun on the other side of the building. And so you have to kind of find a way to balance that, but at the same time, make sure you get the proper illumination on the faces. And that's really key. I'm not really a big proponent of post processing, but in circumstances where you have no other choice, sometimes you have to kind of, say, well, the background can go a little darker. I can brighten that up, or it can go a little lighter and I can darken that down. Not too much, but just a little. But you have to really know what your latitude will be. And then when you get your images back, you kind of have to find a way to try to match them up.
Oh, it's like your cups, the high key lighting, and the young lady with the light from the ground reflecting and making her face look really lit. I kind of like that a lot. But and again, that darkened barn behind that young lady in the pink gown. Um, Man, I just feel that would pop that picture just like crazy. Bring her forward in space. If that since you had the fill flash there anyway,
Mm-hmm.
just to drop a couple of f-stops to bring the background down, and then step her forward. That would have been a well, because it's almost there. Because you can see the shift in the color between that barn and the two above, the one above it and the one next to it.
Right.
And I just find, lighting wise, I find that one where she's the barn is darker, brings her a lot more forward. The one to the left of that, she's kind of flat on that. But
Well,
that's just me.
no, I'm with you. But you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 individuals, and we had about 2 or 3 changes for each person. And so that's really it.
Yeah.
It's
That was a
your
busy
work.
day.
Yeah. Like I said, we worked from about 9 in the morning to 7 in the evening, and this was location 1, and we had a lot. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different backgrounds are indicated here. We did a few more in the same area. We did photographs looking down the bridge with the groups, and so this is really just a very small sample of the number of images that were done. You'll I guess I should say in this particular photo session, we did over 2,000 images total for just day 1.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many were in day 2, so it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But you do have a very good point, and certainly we looked through that when we were putting them together for the kids.
Okay. Okay, Greg. I think you got
Yes,
the
sir.
next one, right? So
Do I have
let's.
it? I thought you could. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Favorite. What is the topic again? Favorite series?
No. What's your best? Yeah, what were your best photo sessions, and for what reasons?
Photo session. Best photo session. You know, ever since I picked up my camera years and years ago, my dad's old Nikon F. I still have that tank back in the room. Um, I haven't had a bad day shooting. I can literally say that honestly. Scouts Honor, Thornbirds. What is this? Catch Fire. What's that? Yeah, the one where they hold up the three fingers. Anyway, so I was in the Bay Area. A friend of mine was doing some things out there, and I asked if I could tag along. And they're like, yeah, sure. You'll have the morning, and then we'll go to the Bay, and we'll have lunch out at the Bay in San Francisco. Excuse me. So just putting around in Oakland, and it's kind of like DC, just outside of the main monuments. The White House, the monuments, the Washington Monument. It's straight ghetto. So I just got outside of Oakland a ways, and I came across this wall. I walked down the street with a prostitute stroll and a couple of crack houses, and it was really kind of funky. Ooh. And I came across this wall. I turned a corner. I was like, oh my goodness, demons fear me. And it's one thing I like about street shooting is that you never know what you're going to come across. Oh my goodness. And then to be in a really, really kind of a rough neighborhood, to come across this thing that was just so out of place for me that, I went through a lot of iterations to get that, because I was standing in front of this pretty tall storm fence, and I had to find something to stand on to shoot over it. I couldn't shoot through it because you know how you shoot through that little square and you get like the edges.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really enjoyed this image. Um, it was for me, it was kind of like a act of defiance. If you're in the hood and you're struggling, or if you're lucky enough to have Jesus, it's like, yeah, demons fear me, so I can survive this. The vacant lot in the front, it was just one of the, I won't say saddest areas, but it was really, really a hurting neighborhood, you know. And then to have that, I mean, if that was a freaking Victory Garden or a vegetable garden, that was the saddest neighborhood farmer, what do they call that? When you have like a neighborhood garden or whatever. It
Well,
was
what
pretty
makes
sad.
it? Well, what makes this one of your best or better photo sessions? I mean, was there
Um,
something that
well,
that really?
well, it was just I felt because like I like street photography just for the spontaneity and the things that you come across. But I felt it was one of the best because well, there was a series of graffiti panels, murals that I saw while I was there that had the same theme of defiance. It's like down but not out. There was one where this young hip hop garb dressed guy was reaching back to a pharaoh that looked just like him. He had the King Tut headdress and the royal garb and everything. And I was like, wow, this they may be down, but they're not out. So I kind of like that. So that was, for me, that made it one of the best series that I did. Yeah, there's a couple for JFK, not JFK, excuse me, for Martin Luther King. There was a couple for Malcolm. There was just this undercurrent of positivity that made it a good shoot for me. Okay, we can go to the next one. Do you have anything, Ken, or you're good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's.
Yeah, like this. New York never, never, ever fails me. I walking around. I came home for a visit, and I hadn't been out in New York at night in a long time, and I was up in Washington Square for a little while, and so yeah, I had this wild hair, and I just headed uptown, and I found myself at Central Park West. No, excuse me, Central Park South at Columbus Circle, and I saw this young lady sitting in that dress, just on the side, and that little photo bug, that leads me around the city or to different places, told me to wait. So I did some test shots. Excuse me, I raised the ISO. I did some drag shots. I did some tests with the background lighting just to see what I could get. And sure enough, in about 20 minutes, the young man to our left came into the park from north, and they saw each other, and he stopped and he put his hand out very formally, and she stood up, and I was like, okay, here we go.
Hmm.
And for the next 15 minutes, they did this ballet duet all around that circle. And I shot some video, and I did this until she turned the dress on, the dress lit up. And and the worst part about it, it's like most of the New Yorkers were just like, oh, do, 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 do. Like it was nothing. I'm like, what would you look at? You know, to me, I'm having a great time. I'm capturing. I'm looking around for other photographers. I'm like, there's nobody else is shooting this. I got so it's just random stuff that happens
Were
in the
you able to
city. Then go
were you
ahead.
able to get a little closer at all and get a
And get what?
little bit more intimate about what more intimate view of what they were doing?
Intimate as far as what?
Closer?
I don't. Okay, not without using the flash. I didn't want to use the flash. Um, I could have gotten closer. I just don't see. I mean, it wasn't a planned shoot, so the telephoto that I have wasn't very fast. I think it started at 3.5 or 4.5, and I didn't do a test on the telephoto. So getting closer didn't really do anything for me. I didn't even make an attempt at anything closer. I enjoyed the whole spectacle, Central Park background, and I think I would have lost that if I had gotten any closer. Now you mean closer on them or closer on?
Yeah, and them with dancing to get more.
Eh, when I shoot dancers, I like to get I've got a bunch of these pictures. I photographed. I think I have uh, maybe 200 pictures, maybe,
Mhm, mhm.
but more like 100, and then what I would feel is good. I think I got maybe 5 good ones. This is one of the okay ones. There were some that are some better, but I like I like this. I like the randomness, and I like the as far as series go, this was one of my favorite series.
Right, right.
Anything, kid? You got anything? I'm
No,
good.
I was going to ask the same question. Not the same question as Mark, but you answered the question. What was your edit like? Because what did you edit down from? And you said you got about five of them that you thought are worth select. So I thought that was an
Right.
interesting thing out of the
Well,
total
the
number.
the only thing that I was really fighting against was because I chose not to use the flash because I wanted to keep that skirt lit up,
Uh-huh.
some detail in that. That as dark as it was, I kind of lost some of them in the darkness. I wanted them to come forward. I really was fighting so hard to not to use that flash, but um, I'm happy with it. I mean, I could edit it and bring the midtones out, or lasso them and bring any dark tones so that they would come forward. But I kind of like this. I was tempted to put it in black and white, but just to see what it would look like.
I
Um,
like it. I like it a lot. I just think the trees maybe compete a little bit with what's going on in the foreground.
Trees?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see it, but okay. Well, the trees are lit up. All the lights are pointing up. So
Yeah.
okay, that's all I gotta know.
Okay. And this one.
And the last one, oh yeah, I made it out. This was either the same day or uh, another week. I went out to Oakland and then to San Francisco. And another one of those, I am so blessed, I must say, because God talks to me when I'm shooting. Because like that I don't want to say the photo gods, but whatever. I saw this guy, because I was walking around just looking for shots. I walked out on the old. If you guys are familiar with the where that was, there was a old bathhouse in the early 1900s. Uh, People would go and swim in the ocean, but it was this, enclosed thing. So the structure is there into the water, and people
Mhm.
just kind of hang out by the water.
Is this
And
on the San Francisco side or the Oakland side or?
this is San Francisco side. That's the Pacific, open to the ocean. Yeah. And I'm watching, and I see this photographer with with you know uh, uh, a person doing yoga poses. And I was looking, I was where they were shooting. The background was just kind of not very good. It's like just a rock wall, and I wasn't. So I kept on going. I was kind of circling like a shark. And then um, I noticed the model or the Zoga master uh, saw the waterfront and started heading out. And I think it seemed like the other photographer was like kind of caught off guard because all they did was back up and start shooting from like behind the person, right? So all you saw was his back and the open ocean. And then I have a series of these too. To the right, the sun was setting. So she was almost shooting directly into the sun. I could,
Mhm.
you could, I could tell she was shooting almost directly. Not a bad shot, but for me, there was like just so much going on. The churning of the water, the little islands in the background, and I was like, okay. So I took myself off to the side, and I, climbed up the side of this little small hill, and and I worked my way into this position where I could get all of that, and it was just fun, kind of hunting. I like the hunt of photography, and outdoor photography and just things that happen. And this was big, and oof, it was just fun because I approached the photographer, but she didn't seem open to any collaboration or getting uh, anything I had. I think she believed that she got what she wanted, and that's fine. That was her shoot. I didn't want to intrude, and I think I got a pretty powerful image. I mean, a lot of, and then like I had never noticed ever, the heart in that stone, or that heart shape in that stone in the distance, and it looks like he's like looking right up at it, and his, you know, posture there. That his yoga poses were top shelf. I'd never seen. I mean, you could see him on the on posters and figure drawings and everything. And they look, wow, I'd never be able to do that. But to see him actually do these poses, he was doing the one where he's standing up and he's holding his foot out. I'm like, wow, this guy's really good. But this one, emotionally, visually, compositionally, um, and I liked the way it looked even better in black and white because I think on a better image I have like a fuller range of tones, that would make Ansel happy. And I just really, really, really enjoyed this day, and that series of shots were what I feel among um, most satisfying series of images that I've done.
Very
Tough
good.
day. I just like going out. And I'm always, what keeps me motivated is like, geez, what will I find today? So I like to keep a, semi-blank card in the camera and
Hmm.
just go out and see what else is out there, because I always feel kind of guided to different stuff. And this was a very special day. Anything? Anybody? Anybody? No?
No?
Bueller?
No, I think it's good.
Bueller? Bueller? No?
Okay. With that, I will speak to a little bit of what I
Geez,
sort.
not one comment? Did you guys hate it? Yeah, like nothing. Wow. Okay.
No, I think it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got me a little interested to see what the photograph would have looked like from the other photographer's perspective, just a smidgen, but otherwise I like it.
I'll upload some of those a little later. It's not. I didn't care for them. They're looking into the sun, doing the yoga pose. It wasn't for me. I like what I got, but I'll upload. I'll upload one. I'll definitely show you guys.
Mm. All right. So for me, as a street shooter, and as Greg had alluded to, sometimes you never know what you're going to get. And so in this particular instance, or at least this series of photographs, is from the Coney Island House series.
Coney Island House?
Yeah. And Coney Island House is, of course, my title for the series because it takes place in Coney Island, and house is a reference to the music that the people are dancing to, which is house music. So I took those two and collaborated and make it a Coney Island House. And the thing about Coney Island House was that it started back in 2004, and I just was just happening to walk on the boardwalk on a day in which there was music being played out there. And of course, as I am, I love music, and as most other people do. And of course, as a street shooter, this was a smorgasbord of just beautiful people moving in motion and doing things. So from 2004 through 2019, I've gone out every year, multiple times, if not dozens of times each year, to photograph the people as they're dancing, and to get to just to explore what the energy is like, what people are like, and to show other people as well. And this was one of the images, and I think this one is from 2008. So it's 4 years. It's 4 years in from the series, from the beginning of the series.
Are you familiar with how the COVID crisis has affected this group?
Well, I haven't gone out there this whole season because of COVID, and I know that there are people who are going out there, but the groups are not going out there as an organized group anymore. So they're little do-it-yourself groups. So no one's really organized because there are no permits being given to the play the
to the
music.
DJs. Yeah.
Because the Coney Island Boardwalk is a park. Basically, it's a New York City park, and it's run by the New York City Parks Department, and so they wouldn't issue any permits for that. So again, here's another image from the group.
I got a bias. I got a bias.
Well,
I absolutely freaking love this series, Ken. I'm just saying that. I put that on the record. And it's recorded, so it'll be on the internet forever. This series is freaking
incredible.
amazing. And it just gets better and better.
Thank
I
you.
remember your early stuff was, I kind of gave you some grief about, image, placement and focal length, but the energy just pops through these images like wow. And I'm so glad that you're doing it, or that you've been sticking with it, because you capture
you capture the entire
really
dynamic of what's going on. It's fantastic.
Cultural, amazing,
and
social community, New York. Yeah.
There's a certain thing that you'll know when you see it that it's worth it. And so as a street shooter, you begin to wonder, right? What is it that captures your attention that makes you imagine what you can do with that image? And whether it's a sustained effort over a period of time, or whether it's a short effort over a short period of time, how do you deliver an image that is the essence of what you were seeing when you were there? Right. So I had the pleasure of time, and there are other times when you don't have the pleasure of times when you're shooting on the street, and so you have to get it right away. So for the most part, I could say that there are a lot of images from this series that are great, but there are a lot that I wouldn't show because and of course, it's in the edit. It's just in the edit.
Yeah, they don't care.
But again, yeah, you shoot 1,000 shots to get the one that you think will work, and that's not to say that the other ones suck. It's just to say this one there's the ones that are the selects are the ones that shine. Mm.
Yeah.
Another one from the series. Mm.
Are these new, Ken? I don't remember seeing any of these.
This one is from.
I mean, the first one I remember, but these, the last two.
Yeah. It's there's so many images in the series, and the series is not a closed series, so it continues to remain open. So images.
Looks like Charles Barkley.
People can, and they will.
That is freaking awesome.
And again, actually, this is actually part of it. This is part of it because during that time, this is what's going on. And I just thought, in the days of selfies, these two girls did not know this person, but yet they were taking a selfie with him.
It's
And
Brooklyn, man. We're all family out there.
yeah, and of course, their sort of their facial expressions and their reactions and the way they're using their fingers to express themselves is really a key point in this image. You know, um, it means something because they're both doing it, but what does it mean is the question. So I always thought that was interesting, and he's a very unusual character.
I'll say, could
So
use a dinner plan.
when you juxtapose him against those two, you get an interesting dynamic.
I like this. The only thing I'm a little squeamish about is her arm on the right. That's the only thing that
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about. But otherwise, I like it a lot.
Yeah, because I think it's understood that they're doing a selfie, and I would have figured that you would understand that's in her hand. And I think I took 3 frames of this, and all of them were at the same distance. And this was with a 28 millimeter, so I was really her arm is like inches away from me.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's about a half a foot from your lens.
Yeah, yeah. And so here's another one from the series, and it's just
Is that money in her bosom?
it I forgot what it was. I think it's ice cube. It's an ice cube.
Even better. Love it.
Now the thing about her is her name is Justine, and she's regular, and she's a very wonderful, nice person, and she shares her icicle pops with everyone. So she brings out enough for everyone almost every time she comes out, and she shares them. So she'll come out.
Pre or post bosom?
What?
I think you're really due for your own show, Ken. I mean, I think that you should be able to get a show in a museum somewhere with this Coney Island house. I think that Greg's absolutely right. It's an incredible series. I think you've captured the culture, the people, the joy, the energy, and I think that you probably have the best record of this on the planet. I don't think it's going to be next year what it was. So I think you need to curate a show of your favorites.
Yeah.
And really start shopping that. That's on the record. I think it's an incredible series. This particular image and some of the others really will stand the test of time.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Right place, right time, picking it, and having the relationships with the people for them to be comfortable in front of me to do this.
Well, you're also very skilled at what you do, and I think it shows you. You really make a point to get the types of images that are honest, and you honor your subject. And I think that's really the key. They're not hiding from you. They really appreciate the fact that you want to share in their joy, and then it comes through.
And I'll go just quickly to go. So, of course, this is part of a series of images from from the oh my goodness, Harlem Nocturnal series.
Oh, go back.
So
no, I mean I like this series too, but series, these is your favorite. Wait, so what makes the you probably said it already. What makes the boardwalk dancers what part of your favorite? You did. You answered that. Never mind. Go ahead. Moving on.
Yeah, it's just the happenstance of street photography, where you're going to be right place, right time, and you don't know what you're going to get. So, and you just run into something that stays with. It's close to 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so and again, so here we are with Harlem Nocturnal. Harlem Nocturnal is a series that I began in 2001. This particular image is from 2002. And it just shows, and I was, over the period of time, I had multiple cameras shooting the series, and this was a panoramic camera. And so in this particular instance, I just thought a nice time lapse photograph would be indicative of a street corner within Harlem that I thought was interesting. And right over here in the left right hand corner, there's just someone leaning up against a wall.
Wow.
You know,
Because I was just about to say I was impressed at how you did that series and got almost people in it. But I do see that now. Okay, cool.
yeah. And here's another one out of and I like this because I think this is 145th near I forgot which course street, but I just think Willie's Burgers and Fries back here is kind of a unique thing, and this dude is standing up against the wall of the phone booth making phone calls. So
Willie's Burger is a landmark, though, isn't it? Isn't that place been there for like forever?
yeah, it's been there for a while. It's well known. It's funny because I really didn't think about it or hear about it until. Uh, I think because I used to walk around Harlem anyway, but this was one of those times when I knew it was there and I knew that I had to use it as part of the series for the group, part of an image for part of the series.
And I like the fact you have a phone booth in there too. You don't see those much anymore. There's this is film, correct? These are film images that were scanned.
Yeah, these are all film that was scanned. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
used to be your favorite burger joint, right, Mark? Willie's? No.
No, I was a White Castle guy. Still a White Castle.
okay. And
They
again,
they have great veggie burgers there.
Now.
another Harlem image.
Oh wow.
Hopping on. And
No,
then
but
went.
and then go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I like that you chose to capture the "There will be dancing in the streets" in this
Yeah.
the bus sign in the
Mhm.
middle of a blizzard.
Yeah, it that didn't yeah, that was intentional for sure. It was just came and happened. Just good. And
No,
so
but that's part of the visual journey. You know,
yeah,
you cross something,
yeah.
and it tickles something in your brain and your eye, and you capture something that's
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the last group of series of this is a series called People A Maze, and it's People the letter A, and the word maze. It's a play on words because it's a maze of people, and it's people. So I like to play with that, and it's the series speaks to the interlocking of how people exist in public places and what happens. What does it look like? And this is a sort of a kind of an idea of what the culmination of what I mean when I say people a maze. It's just a maze of people, and usually it'll all coalesce on street corners for the most part. And I think this was Avenue of the Americas in 42nd Street in this particular image, and it just had a perspective. It's like, wow, yeah, it's a sea of people, the mass and the confusion and the anxiety that it creates if you are part of a group trying to maintain your own self-control and you just can't.
I think I was gonna say I love that picture. I just wish that the figure on the left were also in focus, and if you could get that whole field in focus, I think really helps show the density of what you're showing, what you're talking about.
It kind of adds depth that she's out of focus. I kind of like that you got that you were like that happenstance with the guy with the backpack that kind of looks like a star field.
Well,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, I think the backpack looks like that's the focus of the photo when it's really about the faces of all the people.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
this is out of focus. Her face is in focus.
On
Yeah,
the left?
yeah, I see that.
This
Yeah, the
woman's
woman
face is in
dead
focus.
center.
No,
Dead
no, no. I'm talking
center.
about yeah. No, I'm talking about the one on the left. If you go from that woman on the left all the way to the young lady in the back, I think that would be really
Oh,
fantastic. That would, you know what I
okay.
mean? So you get the whole sea
Uh-huh.
of people, and you really get that people amaze. But I hear you.
Is that are those stars on his backpack? Because they're slightly out of focus. Are those stars?
Those are stars. Yeah,
See? Yeah, okay.
yeah.
I think it
Sharp enough so you can see
reinforces
them, but they're out
I
of
think it
focus.
reinforces the idea of, even I think it's a great job. I like this series too, and definitely talk to get some curating because it's not people aren't going to be that close together with no masks on for a very long time.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. Another one. We'll just go through this real quick.
Ooh, I love it. What happened to her hair? Is that a Marilyn Monroe subway air blast?
Uh, well, no, it's what happens when you turn your head really quick. That's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Nice. Nice.
yeah.
See, that's that's uh that's a Johnny Pump shot. Go ahead.
That looks like one of the old ones before they had the little sprinkler gizmo. This is
That
nice.
was I couldn't believe what they did to New York. No, no, sprinklers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't had summer unless you get hit with a
Now, this is not part of the people
a
management.
blast.
This is just regular street shooting. So, but when you run into something that happens in the city, and yeah, this is the uh, Myanmar Water Festival, the
In Manhattan.
Burmese Water Festival. Yeah, it was taking place in Manhattan. This was probably back in 2001, and it's shot on film.
Well, I gotta tell you, these are very brave if you're using quality gear to do this. I mean, what are you doing for weather sealing or anything like that? Are you
Sometimes
just
you just gotta. The shot is more important. Oh, but go ahead.
Yeah,
You wouldn't
no,
dare take your gear into
yeah,
a situation.
I in this particular instance, I was very acutely aware and maintain great distance between me and the water. And in this particular instance, I was shooting with actually I was shooting most likely with my SLR with my telephoto lens on. So I had brought two cameras that day, and this was a telephoto. And I just wanted to. I knew I wanted to get something close, but I wasn't going to get in there to get wet.
Mm.
So.
That's what warranties are for, and good stores. So if the camera does get wet, you can always take it back. Be fearless, man. The camera is just a piece of equipment. It can be replaced. But an image like that, either you get it or you don't. That's an awesome shot, Ken. And I'm
yeah?
glad
So
you
I was
risked your
asking,
equipment
yeah, because
to get the shot.
a lot of people these days they have GoPros, and I'm wondering. I know that's not where you're getting these images from a GoPro, so I wanted to ask what are you doing to sort of weather seal your gear? Because there is there's an idea when people go through the reviews. Oh, this has weather seal. It has image stabilization. There's a lot of technical considerations, and I've taken my gear into a lot of you know humid, wet, snow, sand.
Boulder
I've done all of
Dash.
that,
You?
and I told you before, Greg. You have no idea. Yeah, I've
You
photographed in
absolutely
all of these
right.
circumstances, and so in all honesty, I wanted to know, what do you? I mean, with a water festival, what are your considerations with your gear? I mean, it's a professional consideration that has to be thought about.
It is, and well, it's a sunny day. In that particular, it's a sunny day, and this was taking place in a small area, which was about maybe 10 feet long by about 8 feet wide. So it was a small area. And the water was being thrown, but I was okay with the cameras getting wet. Just I knew the camera wasn't going to get dumped.
Right.
Uh, but in this particular instance, it was a telephoto lens, so I had no problems with maintaining my distance away. I had brought two cameras, one with a short lens, one with a long lens, and I kept the long lens on. This was a combination, yeah, because I also shot this in medium format, and there's another one where I actually, because that lens is shorter, therefore I had to get closer. But I was cognizant of where the water was. They were cognizant of not spilling the water on anyone else who was engaging in photographing them. So it was sort of a collaboration between us, me, and them. So they were aware of it. In terms of just weather sealing, my weather sealing is an umbrella.
I hear you.
I
That's it. And
love
I
it.
will take my camera out in the rain as long as I have an umbrella. You
Right.
do things, you seek door jams to jump up against,
Hmm.
awnings
What little
from the
shelter you can get.
bodegas and stuff like that. You just use that.
used to wrap my gear in plastic bags when I had to photograph like soccer in the rain or something like that.
Yeah.
You wrap it in a grocery bag
They-
so the lens would poke out in the
Oh my
viewfinder.
gosh. The last time I was in New York, I saw somebody with plastic bags on their feet in the snow. I haven't seen that in years. But you know, they do sell like plastic sleeves for weather. Anyway,
Yeah.
I got a question for
Oh
both of
yeah,
you
I
guys.
mean you do, but I mean sometimes you
I
you
got a
don't know you're
question
going to
for
be
both
there.
of you guys. Well, you keep it in your camera bag. I got a question. Is there a shot that you would get, giggling again, that you would get that is worth the camera that you're shooting it with? And I mean, what I mean is something just like this, where it's like, oh, this is the image. Like I forgot that photographer's name, where you got that black kid and he's being covered with water, and the
Yeah.
water is going down his face so thickly that he looks like a piece of glass. You know that image? I gotta look
It
that
sounds
image up.
familiar. Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Anyway, what I'm saying, is there a shot like that, either in real life or in your future world, where you would rather get that shot even though you know it may destroy your camera? Discuss.
No, I wouldn't.
No?
No, because here's all right. It's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg, right?
True.
If
True.
you take the photograph and the camera gets destroyed, you've lost the image. So you've actually
No, I mean you could you have time to pop the card out.
okay, yeah, okay. So if given that circumstance, uh, phew, I
That's a tough one, huh?
it's no, I don't think it's a tough one. I just wouldn't
Okay, all
do
right.
it. I don't
You
know.
wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. I think there's a you can okay. Let's say for instance, if what you were trying to photograph with a small area, right? You try to maintain your distance, but if you were outside and it was just pouring down rain and you had no protection for your camera and your camera wasn't weather sealed, would you take the shot? Yeah, I would.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
I would. And
You know
again,
what Mark is going to say, but
right.
go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Ken. I'm sorry.
What am I going to say?
No, go ahead, Ken. Finish. Kenny wasn't finished.
Right. I mean, there was a time when back in a couple of summers ago when I took my camera out in the water of Coney Island and I
Into
held
the ocean?
I was walking into the
You were
ocean
waiting.
in order
Okay.
to I was waiting, but I mean that is pretty dicey. You're taking chances, right? So I
Right.
decided, yeah, I'll take the chance in getting the camera wet in order to get this shot.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and dare the rogue wave to come for you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I've photographed at the beach a number of times, and at the end of the day, you come back and your lens has all sorts of stuff on it. It's got sand. It's got seaweed bits. It's got sort of a sticky water
Cotton
that's
candy
dried.
leftovers.
Well, no, not that, but it's got the elements that are there. Just they're somehow there's always sand wedged in between the lens and the body. I don't know how that happens, but if you've got a filter on the cover of the lens, it's fogged by whatever the humidity was.
What I'm saying is there an image that would be
An
worth?
individual image. I think your
Well,
question.
period.
I think
Go
I
ahead.
think your individual. Well, if that's the case, I've already done that. I've risked my camera many times to get photographs of models on the beach. I mean, that's really
No, but I
it.
mean,
I
okay,
mean,
like a Pulitzer Prize winning shot, not just models on the
well,
beach.
that's what I was saying. There's an inherent bias in your question. Your inherent bias is that you're
Inherent
presuming
bias.
that someone wants to get would I get a news photo or something of that nature? And the question is germane to what I do. I mean, if would I risk my camera if I got a photograph of someone falling off a boat? Would I fall off the boat with them to get the picture just before with a wide angle and some of the boat and some of them?
Okay. That's not
No,
exactly what I
I wouldn't
mean,
do
but
that.
go ahead.
But that's the nature of the type of question you're asking. And in all honesty, if someone's or professional, you try to get home with your gear and the images. That's pretty much the goal. You get the image and you bring the gear home too, so that those who photograph and get to bring it all home get to photograph a second day. I'm not in the business of trying to find ways to have someone else replace my gear. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
No, I
I
understand.
think another way to ask the question is,
Go ahead.
would you, okay, what photograph wouldn't you take the chance in doing in losing your gear?
But I wouldn't take the chance. If someone's falling off a boat, I wouldn't take the chance
Right.
trying to take a
But
photo
Wouldn't
jumping
jump
off with
over
them.
with them.
Right.
No.
Right. Well,
Well,
that's
then
to
you
get
lose
the best
everything.
shot, isn't it? I mean,
That's an extreme. That's an
well, but that is an
extreme.
extreme. But that's only extreme circumstances where you don't have your gear coming home with you. I mean, that's really it. Otherwise, you're just being haphazard. You asked a very specific question, which is, what photograph
That's kind
would
of
you
wide.
whisk your gear for? And if snow and rain and sand and wind are not sufficient, I mean, I haven't gone into any fires,
Right.
but I mean, other than that, I've covered all the other elements, right? So
And
it's
I do think that skydivers take that risk every
yeah.
time they're out there. So
Skydiving. I jumped off a cliff in Torrey Pines and just above San Diego. I do have that video. I got
Oh,
to
very
show
good.
on a
but okay, but great.
paragliding.
What is your answer
But
to the question?
I'll tell you one story. I don't know what came over me. I was leaving Greece and I think I didn't know I had a few frames left when I was shooting film. And I saw this, I mean, it was perfect skies, the big fluffy clouds in the distance. And I came across this boat that had been wrecked, that was lifted up and put on the pier. But the cable there, it had been in the water so long, it had just about split this is my new diffuser to keep my zin and wah intact. So you don't think I'm smoking a one of those E-pins. Anyway, and it was a perfect. And I went and I took and I snapped and I tried to advance it into the roll. I knew I didn't have the right exposure. Pulled the roll out of there, went running to get any kind of shop where I could buy a roll of film. Quick 12 would have done it, but the boat was leaving. I was on time. And I'm like, okay, I can either get the boat and leave this island or I'll be stuck and I'll get docked from work and probably written up and all that other stuff and stuck in another country because there wasn't another boat for until the next day. So I don't know what came over me, but perfectly good camera. I took the lens off, I took the strap off, and I threw the lens in the body at the boat.
Okay. In anger?
Well, I couldn't get the shot, and I know that boat was. I had no intention of
Okay.
being back in another country. There was no way I could get the shot, and I felt betrayed a little by the camera. I don't know, it was
Okay.
crazy passing.
Right.
I'm the weird guy that does stuff like that.
Okay.
You guys are the
I
straight
get it,
man,
but
and I'm
I
kinda,
was hoping you had a story about how you did risk the camera to get the shot. You just told me how you
I
destroyed
got
the
a couple
camera
of
and gave
frames,
away the
and
camera.
I threw the camera at the boat.
Did you
Basically.
throw away the film?
No, I kept the film. Are you kidding? I got a couple of frames. The exposure is like way off.
So
I'd have to
I
paint
guess
it in.
I get what you're kind of saying is you weren't going to jump in the water to get the shot.
I would have given anybody like the clothes off my back for a roll of film at that point.
Well,
I can't say my bank
what
account is that
would
was
you?
pretty paltry.
All right. Yeah. I'm sorry you lost your camera that way. It's a horrible way to lose your
Yeah,
camera.
I can get another camera. I just didn't, I can always get another camera. That's why. And then,
Well,
go ahead.
well, is there a time? Because Ken asked, is there a time when it's your question? Is there a shot that you would risk the camera to get?
Yeah.
What shot would that be? Is that the shot you explained to us, or is that something else?
I could show it to you, but I know we don't have time right now. But do you guys remember? There's a shot where
I have
underneath the
time.
Golden
If
Gate
Ken,
Bridge.
all right.
Do you have time, Ken?
Yeah.
Underneath the Golden Gate Bridge, and the weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed, and the water was just coming up onto onto the shore.
Okay.
The one where the kids were running away from the water.
Yep.
Remember that
Mm-hmm.
one? And because of the shoreline was so erratic, I couldn't see where the wave was hitting it. It would hit at different places, and I was waiting for something to happen with those kids. And while that was happening, it was splashing up and coming at me, and I was like slamming the camera under my jacket, But I was getting wet. The camera was getting wet, and it was just not the way I wanted to get the pictures, but I know I wanted that image. And where is it?
Okay, so your answer is yes.
Yes, you would.
Yes, I would.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would. Yes, I did. Yes, I have. Yeah, would I do it again? You bet your sweet bippy. Thank you, Rowan and Martin. Goodness, where is that picture? Gay Bridge. No, that's not it. Of course, I can't see now. If I had you gentlemen's cataloging genius, I could just whip right to it and bam, I'd find it. But I'm not as organized as you guys are yet, but I'm coming for you. Where is it? No, it's in the yeah, that's easy. It's in then I'd have to pull it up.
Okay.
You,
I mean, we understand it, but anyone who's watching this wouldn't understand it. So, I mean, for the sake of I think
Was that
this one? I
think we're good. We're good. Was that an image that we talked about in a previous episode?
Yeah, it was. It was the
Right.
image on the water near the Golden Gate Bridge. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right. So
this. Let me just move this.
all right. So
this one, that one, right there. I don't know if you can see that. Is it out of focus?
no, it's not. Well, it's out of focus. But I remember you seem. I mean, your description of where you are is a little bit closer than the way that particular image seemed. And if we if people look at previous episodes,
that was part of a series. And yeah, okay. I did get wet, and yeah, the camera got wet, but I wanted that shot.
You need some grocery bags that you keep in the bag, in your camera bag, so you can wrap them around your camera if need be.
Under the jacket works perfectly.
Or a bag of rice once the camera gets wet.
No, it was done. It was still under warranty, so I sent it back, and I got a note.
Okay.
And I did snap that SD card out of there.
No, you gotta pay your nickel to Vons or Ralph's or whatever they have out there and Whole Foods, and you get your bag, and there you go.
I am not going to put rice in a piece of electronic camera. Heck no.
Well, no, put the electronic camera in the rice.
Just as bad.
Hey, Mark.
Boil it for 8
minutes,
right?
All right, so we're gonna close this out. We've entertained ourselves immensely at this point. Anyway, thank you very much for sticking with us for this particular episode. This was just a sample of what we felt were some of our best photo sessions. As I mentioned earlier, they were best for a variety of reasons. They aren't the best we've ever done, but they had special meaning for each of us for different things. And that's it. This 3 Black Pratt grad photographers, and we are done with this episode. Have a good night.
Take care.